Hello.
Yeah, that was weird.
Watch what I said. So what they were looking for, because they work under the Department of Health as well as have filed OCFS regulations, they were directed by Department of Health that they wanted to use a specific incident report form. So we submitted it to the licensor to see if it was acceptable in place of OCFS. And it got kicked back to me, the licensor telling me there's nowhere on this that indicates when illness occurs. So I messaged back and I said, well, actually, when there is, mild illness in program, generally they document it on the attendance records. Some of them have a logbook that they keep, notifications describing what illness occurred, when the parent was notified, when they got picked up, so forth. And she came back and said, that's unacceptable. Everything has to be written on an OCFS incident report. And I was baffled because I've been doing this job for 3 years, and I've been submitting healthcare plans to them for 3 years. And I have to say that like 95% of my programs document mild illness when it occurs during the day on the attendance record or some similar form. And I showed her, if you look at Section 7 of the healthcare plan, it says if they have mild, illness occurs in program, where is it documented? Nowhere does it specifically say it needs to be on an incident report form. Mm-hmm. She came back, and believe me, this got this disintegrated into like I was questioning her authority. She came back and referenced, what was it, under the regulations, what is it, 418-1.15, 14 or something, that the one that refers to when you have a severe incident like death, serious injury, serious incident, so forth. And so my question was, I'm confused where you're assimilating a fever, requiring them to go home, into one of these categories. And went back and forth. Anyway, she was not happy with my questioning her. I did speak to her supervisor, who also did support her and back her and said that everything has to be on an incident report. Even a bug bite needs to be reported on an incident report.
Oh, God. Great.
And literally, she started kicking back all of my healthcare I submitted, saying that it needs to be changed. And I'm like, listen, if I've done this incorrectly, I'm like, educate
I'm on a
me.
conference call. That's why I'm not answering.
Show me in the regs where it says that it has to be here, because I'm asking programs to now change their procedures, and it's pretty significantly. I need some sort of place to point them to. Well, they can't do that, but they're telling me I need to change it going forward. And I said,
I've been doing this since 2011, and I've never had any of my healthcare plans kicked back for that. Never.
No.
It's not even an option in Section 3 to use that form. Just want to say that. Go ahead.
Right.
I thought
maybe she could get in touch with our regional director, who's amazing, Robin Beller.
Really?
She'll set her straight.
Are these individuals nurses?
What's that?
Are they nurses? Do they know how to interpret definitions of terms?
Status?
Yeah.
Well, she would, I don't know. So I'm literally like in limbo with this, because I have like 25 programs under her, and I don't even know, I'm not even sure how I proceed. And I said I would love to be able to, when you come to this and the licensor is telling you one thing and then their supervisor is telling me one thing, I don't know how to elevate it or get, somebody above them to get
Well,
clarification.
what about the regional director? What area are you in?
I'm in Dutchess and Putnam County, so it's west.
Right.
Yeah.
I would probably try to reach out to the regional director, because he or she is in charge of all the, licensors for that area. I mean, we fortunately have a really good relationship with our regional director. which, you know, I realize now how helpful that is.
Yeah.
You know, we really work together a lot of times when there's issues that come up where the licensors are, you know, sometimes unsure how to interpret something. They generally come to us now, you know, to say, hey, this is like the nurses area. Let's talk about this, and we want guidance from you guys. So I would probably try that route if you're not getting anything from the program supervisor.
So Kristen and I are in a similar, we have the same region.
So does Megan.
So they're requiring you to the program to fill out an incident report if there's a change in the daily health check that's not related to illness?
Come on.
They're requiring, an incident report to be filled out for any change in, you know, if they develop a fever, if they have a runny nose, if they have a scratch on them. I'm being told that an incident report needs to be completed.
Even if they're not being excluded from the program?
Yeah, even if they're not being excluded from the program.
Okay.
And Alyssa, this is our same license. This is the same regional office that we share.
Right.
So
I know.
this is where I'm trying to, like, again, you know, we've all been doing this for a very long time. Me too, from 2011. Never, ever, ever have I ever heard this. I know on the top of the incident report, it does have that first bullet that says this could be used for illness. But to me, I don't understand this. Because if you could do it in your daily health checks, I mean, obviously, if there's a change in status, you know, and I've gone over that a lot with my programs, if there's a change in status, you really need to document that, and that's for a million different reasons, right? But you would do that in your wherever you say in Section 3 where you're going to do that, right?
And I clearly have written out exactly where they put it, and that's what I said. These have been submitted for years, and now they're saying that it's unacceptable. And the answer that I got was that she was treating me with professional courtesy by not reading through what I submitted to her, and that she will not make that mistake going forward. And I said, nowhere did I ask that. I come from a clinical background. I don't come from a regulatory background. So I assume everything I'm submitting is being reviewed and approved. And I find that, the whole exchange has been very discouraging and disappointing.
Yeah.
But I think it goes back to licensors doing different things and then programs hearing different things and what are they to follow. I do have my programs fill out the incident report if a child is being excluded because of an illness.
Okay.
That's, we don't.
I've never done that.
Not unless it's a severe illness or if they find out after, you know, that the child got hospital, you know, they sent the child home and then, you know, then they will do something like that. But not every time a child gets sent home.
No. You know how big that file is? I mean, like, to me, that's how, like, that was my thought, you know, like going on a site visit and, you know, when they give you files and you have that thick file, my first thought is what's going on here,
right?
You know, and then I'll go in and I'll look, you know, has the kid been here since they were an infant, now they're 4, you know, whatever, fine, okay, so they have a big file. But when you see a stack of incident reports like that, that is to me a red flag. You know, and then like again, we're getting away from, and I get it, we're all about covering and documenting, and, you know, we all know that as nurses, and we, you know, advocate that to our providers that they have to do that. But we're getting away from the bottom line of the kids. Like, they're going to be documenting all day long.
Right. And not interacting with the children. Just documenting.
Right.
And
they sneeze. I mean, really?
When it happens. It's just not on this. She wants it on this specific form.
Right.
And crazy.
And a copy has to go to the parents, and I mean.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Now they have a whole procedure because these children get bussed in because most of them are special needs. So in the education department, they get bussed in. So then they come off the bus, they do the daily health check. They have no interaction with the parents. So it's all like their health check is literally physically one-on-one with this child trying to, figure out if they're healthy or if they have things going on and so forth. So then when something happens, now it's like forms have to get sent home on the bus requesting signature. And if you don't get signed, how is that going to go? And I'm like, okay, it's a lot of work. And again, I said changing of procedures. And I just would like to have the backing and for it to be consistent. Because like I said, when she moved on, and I'm always getting these programs, like the licensors kind of get shuffled a little bit. Now they have a new licensor, and they're required to do it according to their rules.
Totally differently. Yeah.
I just want everything to be done by the state rules. I understand best practice, and if the licensor had come to me and said, this is really the way I would like it done, and if you can do TA and encourage and have them record it this way and document it, that would be great. But it wasn't. It was like I'm being bullied into doing it because she said so.
Right, because it's what she wants or, or whatever the case may be. But that's the bottom line. I mean, that's always been my thought process, and I think that we all feel the same, just like Megan's saying. Show me the money. Like, I need the backup. You need to show me where you're coming from here. And if you're going to go into a program and a program is not doing that, how are you going to cite them?
Right.
And they have no answer.
Right.
I think sometimes the licensors, and I don't want to generalize, but they'll go like a little overboard if if a recurring incident seems to be going on.
Correct.
And I will say recently in our area, we have so many programs that are like pending revocation, and most of them are for emergency type of things, or a lost child, or some really bad stuff going on. So I know the infant toddler and our other trainers are bombarded lately with trainings, and we're asked to do emergency procedures, trainings, and things like that. And it has come up, issues with the incident report, and basically in our area, they're kind of like anything out of the ordinary other than your like typical bumps, bruises, cold, fever, whatever, don't need an incident report. But anytime, obviously, if you have to call for emergency services or a child gets injured or, any of those things, 100% require an incident report. And we kind of have just been really stressing to programs, if it's something out of the ordinary, there's never a problem with doing. If when in doubt, do an incident report, but not for every little incident that goes on with a child.
And it almost, I said in my mind, like minimizes the actual incident report. Like, you want them to take
exactly
seriously, that there's got to be like some sort of follow-up and so forth. But if I'm filling out an incident report every time a person gets like a mosquito bite, I mean, that's kind of crazy.
Right. Yeah, it's absurd. Yeah. Like,
yeah, listen, I get it. Everything's a little crazy right now within the state and the things that are rolling out and the changes that are happening. Regionally for us, our regional office has moved from Spring Valley across to Westchester. That was during the time when all the CBCs came out. There was issues. So, I understand being overwhelmed and all of this. It's just, I don't know. And some, the thing too, you can't fault the licensors too, because many of them do not have an early childhood background at all.
Right.
It's a civil service job. I mean, they're coming from a different place. So.
And there's a lot of gray area for interpretation for a lot of the regulations too, which is where things get a little, confused.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. But it's kind of like, all right, how do we bring everybody all together just to take a breath?
Yeah.
And, you know, really focus. And I mean, I feel that we have a good relationship with our regional office. I mean, we talk to them, we reach out to them, they reach out to us. You know, I'm not quite sure where this is coming from.
Yeah.
And Helene, like you're saying, like maybe that is it. Like that was my thought too. Maybe something in the legal world up there, you know, with revocations and things that are happening, you know, that this is something that's going to come down the pike kind of thing, but just hasn't necessarily gotten there yet.
Hopefully not.
Right. Listen, I can already see, like, you know, programs programs have said it to me. It's a lot of change. People that have been doing this for a long time, they're like, you know what? I'm starting to think about retiring.
Yeah. Yeah, our regional director has held a bunch of, you know, like trainings on the, you know, the new background check stuff, and she's also, you know, reviewed some of the changes to the regulations, and I've sat through one or two of them, and the providers are just like rolling their eyes and like, oh my God, you know, how are we gonna, you know, get all this done? But so I feel for them for sure.
Absolutely.
Okay. So everyone's advice is just to reach out to the regional manager, you think?
Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
And maybe just, you know, you can even express to her that, you know, you're really concerned about this, and, you know, you've reached out to the other healthcare consultants, you know, throughout the state, and, you know, this seems to be not in compliance with what everybody else how everybody else is interpreting that regulation, and maybe can we have a talk of, you know, have a meeting to kind of go through it together so that we're all on the same page, you know, try to more reaching out like I need some help and collaboration here kind of thing, as opposed to you guys are all wrong and, you know.
Yeah. Right. Like I said, I'm just looking to be consistent. I want everybody to follow the same rules.
Right. Well, if one region's doing something, then the rest of the region should do it. I mean, they're all the same we don't have regional regulations.
Right.
You know,
exactly.
So we're within the same region, and it's different.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Never have I heard
you know
it.
what? Years ago, we used to have meetings with the regional office. I don't know if you remember it. I mean, years ago, and I thought those were good, but they haven't taken place. So maybe we can organize a regional meeting.
I really think that would be very beneficial, because there's some licensors I wouldn't even know if I fell over them. But
I know, right? And there are many new ones too.
Yes.
It's been. So I think that would be a good idea if we can try to organize one.
All right, so what's the next step? How do we do that?
So it's going to be, because it would be regionally. I mean, I don't know a time where you would have all the licensors and registrars in the state in one place at one time.
No, I don't think that's going to happen.
No.
It
would be great.
Even a representative from each region. We couldn't get somebody like a rep. We all meet in a central location, whether it be Albany, Dutchess, wherever. Because like I said, I'm downstate.
They have regional manager meetings in Albany. So that would be a potential of having all of the managers with the different regions. Other than that, it would just be regional meetings separately.
Yeah, you would have to reach out to the office.
Right, they do meet in Albany.
That sounds like.
Is there any way we can get a couple of hours of their time where we all can meet on whatever date that is?
That would be absolutely wonderful.
That would be a great idea.
So how can we organize that?
We would have to find out when that would be. Is that something that happens there, Brooke, at ECLC?
Say that again? What happens?
that the regional managers from all the OCFS licensing offices, do they come up there to meet?
No.
They don't come up to you guys, okay.
I thought that's what you said, but I just wanted to verify. No, they don't do that. No.
So they probably do it up at the office.
Yeah, they're at their main, I think they're at the main office that does that. They don't
That's probably what it is. So we would have to find out. So I think at least down here for us, Alyssa and Megan, I think we would need to get together and see what we can do there.
Okay.
Because
That's an excellent idea.
Before it starts to get explosive, I mean, it's completely, let's, we're professionals and let's, be the, enough. Enough with the crazy.
I know. I said it's hard enough without this, right?
Right, I'm just reading the chat box. All right, Kyle was just sharing the busing issue without parents is an area where there are few procedural guidelines. Head Start has some. This is an area that needs development. It is important. I completely agree with that. I mean, even in your school age programs too.
Yeah.
There should be a highly experienced HCC in each OCFS regional office. Kyle, I really love I completely agree with that, but unfortunately, I think we've had that conversation too with OCFS in the past that, they can't do that. I was under the impression that ECLC had a role in advocating for needs of CCRNRs. All right. Anybody else have any other things they want to share from the field, things that are going on? Gripes, complaints, successes? Successes? Any successes?
I had one question. This is Maureen from Suffolk. How's everybody? Is anyone, was there ever any decision or conversation further about the universal pre-K, the school district form being used as the medical statement or the, the physical form that some programs receive from the physicians?
I love that form.
It's not being mandated this year.
So if it doesn't have I had a provider who had several of the kids, they weren't all pre-K age. The doctors were using the school district form, which didn't have the contagious, free from communicable disease box on it. Mm-hmm. How do you advise them on that?
If you read the cover letter to that form that the doctors fill out, it does have a reference to the child being clear of communicable disease. So them filling out that form acknowledges that component.
And does that get back to the provider? I don't know if I've seen that.
It doesn't get back to the provider, but it's what the doctors get with that form. It's and I can pull it up because it was actually, I was having my program, fill out an additional thing saying that they're free. And then one of the providers that I call on, their director was like, well, Megan, if you look at the whole packet of what the doctors get and it says, it references that the child is free, would that then be acceptable? And I'm like, you know what? I never looked at what the doctor
we don't.
and that form letter. So it does make sense. It says that, by filling this out, you are communicating that they are free of communicable and infectious disease. Okay. So I can scroll through my email and find that letter.
It's a nice form over the current form because it truly highlights special needs, and it would be nice if they can change the child and care medical statement to that form.
Right.
Yeah.
It's definitely got more information on it.
Yeah, so but the communicable disease box is okay not to have it visible on that form?
I can't speak yay or nay to that.
Yeah.
So that's going to be, again, regional, and it's going to be by licensor.
Yeah, okay.
Because I've heard, licensors say that, no, you can only use the child and medical care statement. You can't use another form. So I think that's going to be very situational.
Right.
As far as Department of Ed is concerned, I'm sorry, Alyssa. As far as Department of Ed is concerned, if you have children that are in universal pre-K or pre-K that are getting that state-funded money, that form is not a requirement for this year. I think it's something that they were relooking at because it didn't have all of those pieces. The other piece of that, too, was the hearing and vision screening requirement for the pre-kindergarten, which was really fun when we found out that anybody who was in pre-K or universal pre-K was, if they did not have a vision and hearing screening, a true screening done, that then the district's nurses were responsible to do that. That was fun telling the nurses that. Considering that, for some of us that have, UPK, you do understand this, but for some of that you don't, is usually there's just, sites that they choose. It's not like it's housed in a district building or anything like that, so it's just a group family, or a center where they run the universal pre-kindergarten program. So I'm like, great, this district nurse is going to have to travel to 30 sites.
Right.
Yeah.
No problem.
Can I just ask a question for clarification? Because I was once a school nurse in the New York City Department of Ed. And as a nurse, yes, I did go from site to site, but I had the whole school year to do those screenings. However, according to many of the programs that are Head Start / UPK, they only have 45 days from enrollment to do those screenings.
That might be a Head Start requirement, because they screen all their children, but for the UPK piece or the pre-K piece, I forget what she had said to me when I talked to her at State Ed. Oh my God, what did she say? I want to say they had till March to screen these kids or something.
Okay, because here in the city, as you know, the DOE got the Head Start contract, so they're a direct grantee for the Head Start. They're calling their programs UPK, 3K, whatever they want to call it. However, we're being told that it still falls under the Head Start performance standards and not DOE. So that's where the confusion comes in, because if it's DOE, you have, like you said, till March. But if it's Head Start, I have 45 days from enrollment.
Right.
It has to be one or the other.
Right. Well, and the city's so different too with universal pre-K and pre-K. And then I think this is a lot of the challenges some of us face is when we do have programs that fall under multiple regulatory bodies.
Yeah.
Yes.
You have DOH, you have State Ed, you have, OCFS, you have Head Start, it's like you got to figure out which one is the highest standard, and then that's the one that you have to maintain.
Yeah, that's a challenge for many of the providers. Even with children whose physicals have expired, according to Head Start, we can't exclude them. According to DOH, they could be excluded within 30 days after their physicals have expired. So I don't know.
And then State Ed says that the medical director could do the physical.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, so many different.
Yeah. Kristen, I just emailed you that letter because I don't know how to send it to everybody.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine.
And you'll see that.
Oh, wow, yeah.
New York State. It's from New York State Education Department, I guess. Physical guidelines for New York State, yeah.
Yeah. And I don't think many of the healthcare providers knew about this as well.
No, probably not.
Because they're still writing in vision and hearing subjectively normal or unable to cooperate.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Alyssa, I totally cut you off before. And I don't know if you...
No, it's just on the form where you said it's regional or licensor dependent. This would be something, again, to bring up the chain of command to see if there could be revisions to what's required currently, where they use a new form, take out the hearing screening, add the free of communicable illness, and that form.
Right. When this kind of all came out, I had reached out to Dora, and I actually had reached out to OCFS about that because that piece was not in it, and I knew that was going to be an issue, and we have so many pre-K programs down here. So I know that they were all discussing it, and then it kind of fell to the wayside because everybody realized no one's using this form, and it became a whole big to-do. So,
right.
I guess when it gets picked back up again, it's something that would have to be discussed, or maybe it would be fixed. I don't know. But it just seems to be the theme is just to, we all need to streamline our communication and our relationships with licensing and ourselves and the higher ups.
Yep.
I don't know how else to fix, even go about fixing all the issues that are going on. Just also wanted to share this little tidbit about these expiration dates of water bottles. I don't know where this came from. There must have been a training. So just if you want to share with your programs to ensure checking their water bottles that they keep in their emergency evacuation bags, that to look at the expiration dates on them, because licensors seem to be going out and looking at them.
Okay.
All right, so it's not the water that expires, it's the plastic that starts to break down and leach into the water that they're concerned about. So I don't know if there was an healthy, friendly training or something
Probably
that happened.
Somewhere.
Yeah, So it was just something that was brought to my attention. So I wanted to share that with you all.
All right.
Dora could not be with us today, but she did want to pass along some information. So, let's make us all happy. So, all right. So she is saying that there's going to be upcoming changes to the MAC curriculum. So that's going to be in April 2020. Can't believe 2020 is around the corner. So the changes to the curriculum are going to be on the information pertaining to Oragel. It will be changed to another product. Yay! Meaning any mention of Oragel in an activity or a skills competency will be updated. So it's going to be removed. The only area it's not going to be removed, obviously, is where it's shown in the video. Okay. So I think that makes all of us very happy. Another update will be the restructuring of Module 10. So this is something she talked about with us at our face-to-face meeting. So handout 10.4 and 10.5 will be moving to the beginning of that module. That will allow, that will allow the individualized healthcare plan for a child with special healthcare needs to be directly following asthma being Module 8 and anaphylaxis Module 9, which she feels is not only going to flow better, but it's also important because it's somewhat buried in that module.
Right.
And it's pretty important, as we've had a whole long, lengthy discussion about that from the beginning of our phone call. She will be having a mandatory webinar to discuss those updates. So there's no date or anything, and, you know, obviously it's going to be probably closer when that's the change to the curriculum would come out. So that is what the good news that she had to share with us.
Okay.
So I'm excited about it.
Yeah. All right.
All right. Anybody else have anything else to share?
Yeah, I think so.
The only thing I want to touch base on, Kristen, is the fact that we're going to end up sending out the dates for the 2020 upcoming.
Okay.
And are we still aiming to do the face-to-face in May like we did?
You're muffled again. Can you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Are we still aiming to do the face-to-face in May?
How does everyone feel about that? Meeting up at ECLC in Albany face-to-face in May?
That's fine.
Only if we do it in early May.
Early May?
Early May. I'm not around the end of May.
Okay, well, I'll aim to do early May, and then we'll send out a calendar in the beginning of the year, so you guys can put out and save all the dates for the 2020 meetings.
Okay.
That sounds perfect to me. So we're going to still maintain with the one face-to-face and the rest would be conference calls.
Correct.
Everyone's good with that?
Yes.
Yeah. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Maybe we could, like, kidnap all of the regional office people and bring them with us.
That would be perfect.
Maybe we can try to aim for that. Maybe we can aim for that for May.
That would be really nice.
Right.
And like to have Christine Coons or, I mean, I don't know, Kathleen Piquel, what her, or whatever, whoever's in that position or what's
I think that's
here.
Christine Coons.
That's Christine Coons now, yeah.
It is Christine Coons now? Okay. So that would be helpful.
Just so everybody knows, I started recording the session halfway through when we started talking about the licensing. So any notes or anything that anybody wants to send in regard to the discussion prior, but I'll send out the group chat so people can read that, as well as the recorded halfway through. I apologize, I forgot to record it earlier.
Okay.
Perfect.
I did have a question. How is everyone handling the specific milestones with IPC, site visit, and healthcare plans? Are you having more IPCs as opposed to site visits and healthcare plans? And can you have a IPC and site visit for a program that's not currently on your service?
What is an IPC, Alyssa?
Initial
Plan.
Initial
Oh, an initial. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, we've sometimes done the initial and then, and then they disappear, but we are still able to claim it. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. But as long, and with each 3, you can only just claim it once every licensing year. Yeah. But yeah, we've done that.
And have you ever had an IPC and a site visit that didn't result in a healthcare plan?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. The claiming once is a pain, especially when you're doing multiple things for these programs within the year.
Oh, I completely agree. I have one right now. Trying to fix a med error. It's succubus of my time. Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
Okay.
We also, what we did as part of our healthcare, kind of our contract, we include like a site visit yearly, but if we have to go back to a program more than once during the year, we charge for those. If it's because of violations or something like that, we do charge like a small fee to come back to visit the site if we were just there 2 months ago, so that we are at least getting reimbursed something for our time.
Right, and that's in your agreement?
Yeah, well, we give it to them. We have like a fee schedule. So when we have like a new program, we give them, we can give them a copy of our fee schedule.
Okay. I end up having programs just leave my service when it comes to that. Like if I have to go back,
thanks for your help later.
they're like, okay, I'm not going to use you anymore.
Right. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, well, we try to, if it's something that we're doing TA or something like that, we do try, bring an invoice and ask them to pay either before or when we come there. But I know that's hard with some programs to follow through with, but that's how
Right, if it's not required by their licensor, they just don't.
Oh, right.
Okay, thank you.
All right, sure. All right.
All right, everybody good?
Yes. Yep. Happy holidays. Happy New Year to everybody.
Oh, yes.
Yes, happy holidays, happy, healthy, and a little bit more relaxed.
Yeah, maybe.
All right. Thank you guys so much for your time. I know how important it is and for us to get together.
Thank you.
All right. And to our new friend, Stacy, are you still there? Should I hang up? All right. Well, I'm going to include her in on our emails and stuff like that. So, all right.
Thank you.
Great, guys.
Thanks again.
Good day.
Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
What happened?